So the Brampton Steelheads, the biggest question going into the regular season was who would be their starting goaltender, or would they do a 1A, 1B situation with both Ryerson Leenders and Jack Ivankovic in net? Well, we now have an answer. Brampton has traded Ryerson Leenders to the Brantford Bulldogs for 8 draft picks. 3 of those are second round picks, 2 in 2025, belonging to the Barrie Colts and the Windsor Spitfires, and a second in 2026. So a great haul here for the Brampton Steelheads for Ryerson Leenders, who is one of the top goaltenders in the Ontario Hockey League. So with this move, that means Jack Ivankovic will be the starter once the regular season gets underway. And Ivankovic coming off a fantastic showing at the Hlinka Gretzky tournament representing Team Canada. So really, you couldn't go wrong with either goaltender in this situation. So with Ryerson Leenders being the older goaltender, he ends up moving out, and the Brantford Bulldogs, who didn't really have a starter going into the season because Mateo Drobak graduated. There's questions about Igorov and whether or not he would be ready to become a starter, but the Bulldogs deciding that with this being a season they could contend for top spot in the East Division, they have acquired their starter. So he is more than capable of taking over the crease with the Brantford Bulldogs, and I think this is a great move for both teams. For Leenders, looking at his numbers from last season, he appeared in 46 games, had a record of 24, 17, and 4, and a .909 save percentage. So, like I said, one of the top goaltenders in the Ontario Hockey League. He was also selected by the Buffalo Sabres in the 7th round of the 2024 NHL Draft. And I think I think fans are going to quickly appreciate Ryerson Leenders once he suits up for the Brantford Bulldogs this season. We'll see if he appears this weekend at the exhibition showcase in Kitchener or not, but still, I think he's quickly going to become a fan favorite once the Bulldog season gets underway. And with David Igorov, he was a rookie last season, so they don't need to rush him into the net, so he'll be the backup again behind Ryerson Leenders. So I think this is a good goaltending duo, having Leenders and Igorov in net for the Brantford Bulldogs. And for the Brampton Steelheads, getting all these picks, so 8 picks in total, they can then flip it later if they need to add more depth, or if there's a player, a veteran player, they want to add to the lineup. We know they've already picked up Carson Rykoff from the Kitchener Rangers, so they do have a pretty lethal offense, and they could potentially add a few more pieces with the restocking a bit of their draft cupboard. So a great deal here for both Brampton and Brantford. Now, the Steelheads weren't done after announcing the Ryerson Leenders trade. They've picked up Jacob Gibbons from the Erie Otters. They sent 2 picks to Erie, a 4th in 2025 and a 6th in 2028. So with Leenders moving out, you want to have someone to back up Jack Ivankovic, and that job will go to Jacob Gibbons, who is capable of taking over that position. Last year, the Erie Otters, they dressed 10 goaltenders because of health issues. Ben Gaudreau suffered that injury, and then they had to have emergency call-ups. And Gibbons, he appeared in 20 games last season, had a record of 5-7-1 and a .819 save percentage. So decent numbers, but for Gibbons, he'll be able to back up Ivankovic, and he's also a pretty big goaltender. So I think this is a good spot for him for his development. He is 6'5", 207 pounds. So he's a solid backup, I feel, for the Steelheads. So they've done well. I know it's going to be hard to see a guy like Ryerson Leenders head off to the Brantford Bulldogs, but getting Gibbons and giving the net basically to Jack Ivankovic, a good sign here for the Brampton Steelheads, who, of course, a favorite to win the Eastern Conference. Well, Brantford, they're expected to compete for top spot in the East Division. So I do like these goaltending moves for both teams. And then, of course, the Erie Otters getting a couple picks as well, which will help them going forward as well. There was also a move involving the Niagara Icedogs. They've added an import forward through waivers. They picked up Andrei Loshko, who is a right winger from Belarus. He comes over from the QMJHL, where he played with the Rouyn-Noranda Huskies last season. 51 games, 23 goals, 31 assists, good for 54 points. So Loshko, a great offensive threat being added here to Niagara, who are, of course, looking to take that step towards the playoffs. They haven't been in the postseason since 2019, so that's what they're building towards. But what's interesting, though, Loshko takes an import spot and an overage position. So with that, that's now 4 overagers they have on their roster currently here at the end of training camp. They just picked up Noah Van Vliet from the Sudbury Wolves earlier this week. And then you also have Owen Flores in net, and then their captain, Gavin Bryant. So you can only dress 3 overagers, so one would have to be a healthy scratch. However, Gavin Bryant coming off an injury, it sounds like he might not be ready for the start of the regular season, but that kind of helps them there. But once Gavin Bryant is ready to return, then you have to make the decision which of the 4 overagers won't be dressing for Niagara, or do they make another move? We'll have to wait and see on that front. So an interesting move here, but still some good offense from Loshko, and we'll see how he fits in with this Niagara Icedogs team. Now, the Barrie Colts, they are getting ready for their blue-white game tonight to wrap up training camp. I'll be doing a recap video just to let you know who stood out and just to get back in the swing of things of doing post-game videos just to talk about the teams out on the ice. But before we get there, they have announced a signing. They have signed second-round pick Noah Gaudet-Barton. He's got some good size. He is 6'2", 183 pounds. Colts management liking what they see. Marty Williamson saying they're impressed with his size and his capabilities on the back end. So this is going to be a project, I feel, for the Barrie Colts. We might see him a couple of times during the regular season, but still, this is a signing looking to the future for the Barrie Colts. And it's a pretty an exciting day for Noah and his family to have this opportunity to be signed to an OHL scholarship and development agreement. So congratulations to Noah, and can't wait to get back to the Saddlein Arena tonight. So I wanted to do a video on this because of the trades involving the Brampton Steelheads. Those are huge moves, and I'd love to see your thoughts on any of these moves down below. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe, and we'll talk to you again soon.